Hello, and welcome to another episode of Study of X, the bi-weekly X-Men podcast where we discuss the Krakoan era of X-Men podcast, or X-Men comics, not podcast. I think we already did this bit. Anyway, I'm your host, Tim, and with me as always is Chris.
I'm sure we could discuss Krakoan podcasts, both real and fictional, but I'm not sure how many there would be.
It would be a much shorter podcast.
Yes.
We've done this bit before.
We've done
but
this
you know
bit.
What?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna keep the bit going and see how long we can make it work.
And also Sergio is here. If you the voice we heard earlier.
I'm here. Hi.
Yeah.
Here to talk about some X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah, we briefly have talked, if you're listening to this, we had X-Men 97 come out last week. Pretty good start, actually. Two of us have watched it, the other one hasn't. We might talk about that more on the podcast as things go on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I ruined it for everybody.
It is your fault, actually. But we do have some issues to cover this week. We have X Factor number 3, Wolverine number 5, and New Mutants number 12. Interesting pack of issues here. Kind of the conclusions to a lot of arcs.
Yeah, definitely. We're closing a lot of doors here. And also introducing a lot of new characters, especially in X Factor. There's going to be a lot of backstory for those folks. But thankfully, Wolverine is pretty simple. And New Mutants, it's kind of meaty. I would say, is the best way to put it, and I'm looking forward to talking about that one. But, you know, let's get started on X Factor, because we have a lot to go through.
There's so much to go through.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot happens in this issue.
There are some rainbow shenanigans going on.
Yeah, on top of a bunch of characters that are introduced, maybe in a few comics, and then you just never see them again. But we're going to talk about them anyways. So for X Factor number 3, titled Suite number 3, Mojoverse Sonata II, A Celestial Rondo. This was written by Leah Williams and released in September of 2020.
I love that Castlevania game.
Yes, Celestial Rondo, that one is also my favorite. It counters a Rondo of Blood.
I've never played a Castlevania game.
That's the next thing you're going to have to binge.
I guess so. Yeah. I'm never finishing this Final Fantasy thing, but let's continue.
Yes, okay, back to our friends at X Factor. They very quickly handle the amateur podcast that tried to live stream a fight with them at the end of the last issue, and it's really no contest for them. They quickly just lay waste to these people.
Yeah, these dudes just, they were not them.
Yeah, but because of Mojo's wonderful benevolence, Spiral of Spiral's Showcase is going to have X Factor on their live stream as guests first before anybody else.
It's a pretty big get there for Spiral.
It's a pretty big get. That's going to have a lot of views. You're going to have a lot of TikTok clips to get from that one.
Yep.
But let's talk about Spiral. So we saw her logo in the last issue as one of the top 5 streams on Mojoverse. She has, what is that, 6 arms?
Yep,
she has 6 arms, silver hair, a silver jumpsuit on. Silver is kind of her whole thing. But she was introduced in Longshot number 1 in 1985, known as Ricochet Rita Wayward. She was actually a human stuntwoman who, after traveling with her boyfriend Longshot to Mojo World, was captured, tortured, and experimented on to become Mojo's servant. That's why she has 6 arms, and also why she knows the mystical arts, as we're going to see later.
Did you guys know that entertainment culture is bad? And may have some issues?
We might have some problems with it. I don't know. That might be a little bit of a stretch there, Sergio.
Oh, okay.
You're telling me that the place that has immigration done via live stream and how much the viewers like people is a bad system?
Oh no, I wouldn't suggest that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
because
If not, we would have to get kicked out of Mojo World, and that
Yeah.
would be bad.
I don't understand how you could think something so bad when it has so much engagement.
Mm-hmm. If it was truly worthless, nobody would be watching it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers do go up, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, views do go up. And Spiral definitely understands that. She also was an X-Men villain for a while, but at one point she actually broke free of Mojo's control and joined X-Force for a little bit, before eventually coming back to Mojo World for unknown reasons, and we find her here as one of the top 5 live streams.
I am like 90% sure she was on Mystique's Freedom Force for a little bit too.
That sounds ridiculous, so I'm going to believe you.
Yeah. That's Mystique had a little team of mutants that worked for the government, and I think she just recruited Spiral for a bit.
That oddly makes a lot of sense for Mystique. I could see her hating it the entire time, but she would do that.
Oh no! She was having fun. It was a sweet gig. They basically just got to do their usual thing, except they got paid by the government for it.
Oh, well, hey, you know what? Make that bread.
Destiny was there. Like, this is probably a good time for her. But yeah, all good things must come to an end. And we move on with this.
Mm-hmm. So back at Spiral's showcase, which is her streaming studio home hybrid, she's going to have X Factor here, as the crew is trying to still figure out who murdered a mutant girl here, and Spiral is just live streaming the whole thing and kind of putting it off for a bit, because she actually has the footage of who died and how they died, and she plans to show it to X-Force for the first time and capture their live reaction.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bad?
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, maybe not the best.
But yeah, we got a mutant working for her, and also Spiral in general just has like some big old headshot TV thing in her brain, so nobody can really like peek in there.
Yeah, it's some anti-psychic mind-reading technology that she has, which kind of messes with some of the crew, especially Rachel, who's trying to figure things out.
It's also like branded like on the inside, which I think is very funny.
I also think that's funny. You know, they go in and they put that in her brain, but at least you can still have the logo in there, as if somebody's going to see it. The only thing I would really note here is this other mutant girl, her name is Ginny, works for Spiral here, and Rachel questions why she just doesn't leave and go to Krakoa. And she's pretty honest, you know. She says, "Oh, you mean I can move to a remote island with villains and a couple of X-Men who've already tried to kidnap me before?" Yeah, no, I wouldn't go there either. If I was in that situation. I'm glad some more people are calling out that, like, hey, Krakoa, yes, is for everybody, but not everybody is gonna go there.
Yeah.
It's still got a lot of problems. Arguably, Mojoverse has a lot more problems, but I would not blame somebody for not wanting to go to Krakoa.
Yeah. But then we end up getting the reveal of who her mutant is, and Spiral mentions to Prodigy, "Hey, you remember Sophia, right?" And do you remember Sophia, Chris?
I did not until I went back and looked into her. Her mutant name is Wind Dancer, so you can kind of get an idea of what her powers might be. But she was introduced in New Mutants #1 back in 2003. She is a Venezuelan mutant who joined the New Mutant Squad and actually led it for a little bit before co-leading it with Prodigy. So those two are pretty close to each other. And just to mention also, her abilities are aerokinesis, so she can direct air particles in the air, so she can fly, create tornadoes, enhance sounds, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But Spiral is going to show this in the absolute worst way possible, as she pretty much just gets a giant floor-to-ceiling TV screen to show Sophia as she agrees to be shot and killed on live stream for the views.
Yeah.
Which shout-outs also to the artist and the colorist here who did the actual shot of her getting shot. It cuts away over to Prodigy and Spiral, and it's just stark red with a really big blam in the background. It's great.
Yeah, there's this very interesting kind of balance tone-wise here, where you have like it's an interesting contrast where you do have the X Factor, who is taking this seriously at this point. Like they are not happy, but it's surrounded by this like Mojo-verse, just absolute like refusal to take anything seriously.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been joking about it, but everything must be for the views. Everything has to go up. If people have to like the stream, people have to comment, people have to all of that. If you've ever seen a live stream about almost anything these days and how it's promoted and how people talk during it when they talk to the audience, you kind of have a gist of how this is being handled.
Yeah.
And it's with, somebody getting shots and dying for this whole thing. At one point in the next page, Spiral is going to say, let me know your X Factor questions, and it's a hashtag.
Yeah, X FAQTOR. So like they even have the little spelling quirk in there. Like it's I don't know.
Fun. It's fun. It's silly. It's you know.
They watch their friend die.
Yeah, but it's for the views and keep engagement and all that stuff. I get what they're going for here. I don't want to say it's on the nose because I think it's pretty accurate with how demeaning and degrading the constant need to, I guess, influencer culture is what you could call it. And how that can be and how that can affect how people react to things or try to film really horrible events or surprises on people. I think it works here, but only just. I'm going through this and I'm like, okay, yeah, I agree. All of this is awful. It's not great. But something about the story is not fully clicking with me to make me go like, okay, yeah, I love this. It's just like, yeah, I can see it. I'll nod along and keep going.
I do like it. I think the contrast does work well here just because of like you do have X Factor on the other side of this who are just absolutely horrified by what's happening here. And in that case I do think it works. Like it is kind of like jokey a little bit, but X Factor seems like rightfully horrified by that.
Yeah, I don't think this is meant to be funny.
I don't think it is really
any
either.
level. I don't think it is charming either. I think it's very much presenting itself as like crass and terrifying. And I don't even think this is so much a criticism of like influencer culture necessarily, more so than like just media culture in general. Specifically with everything surrounding her. I wouldn't call it like suicide, voluntary shooting or what have you. It's got all of this imagery associated with like news media. You've got the like rolling what you call it on the bottom. You've got the TV news logo underneath. It looks way more like the news, right? And in that sense I do think it's way more justified as a criticism of media at large, especially of like, again, entertainment culture, than something that's sort of more grassroots as influencer like culture. That feels a little bit more specific to me than what this is. And as such, the criticism does work. I do think it has the subtlety of a sledgehammer, but it does work, and it is evidently like meant to horrify.
Yeah. I think on that level, I think it is handled very well because again, like there's very there is no question how the audience is supposed to react to this. It's X Factor is not happy about any of this. Like they are in shock and horror by what like they were kind of just like put into.
Yeah, I will say I was surprised they went here.
Yeah, same. It's
It does seem like very charming at the beginning, and it feels very harmless in the sense that, you know, entertainment can seem, and like entertainment and celebrity culture and that whole cultural apparatus can appear, and then the reveal of how she actually died again is contrasts a lot with the tone of the rest of things that have happened so far. I think in that sense that's effective. That's you finding out that actor you liked ended up of drug overdose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it in the way of news sites, but now that you're pointing it out, it makes more sense. You know, I think I'm getting stuck on where they keep describing everything as being a live stream, being, you know, a pod or everything else, you know, like it starts grassroots, but it seems like once you get to a higher point with it, it stops being the grassroots and becomes part of the machine.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
Yeah.
And now that you pointed it out, yeah, no, I do see that.
But yeah, so kind of moving on from that a little bit, they are moved into what appears to be an arena.
Yes, it seems like next on the slate, Spiral is getting them ready to see the autopsy of Wind Dancer, which is apparently also going to be live streamed. So they are going to be taken to where her body is, which is apparently a giant Thunderdome of some kind, with just a whole bunch of people in the stands. There are drones everywhere filming everything. It looks wild, honestly. I really like the design of this entire stadium. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Horrifying once we learn what's going on, but for now, hey, it looks pretty.
Yeah.
Is this where they're doing the autopsy?
No, I don't think so.
I think
this
is just the like an arena. You see two guys fighting at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're just having them go do this while they go do the autopsy.
Oh, I think you're correct. I reread it really quickly. It looks like she was going to tell the team where the autopsy was going to be, but instead she's going to send them over to the live stream where it's going to happen.
Right.
So that's where they are right now. Okay. But taking a break from that, we are actually going to head back to the Boneyard here, where Aurora and Amazing Baby are just hanging out and walking around this amazing little weird structure. When Aurora gets back to the kitchen and Dakin is here, who really did not actually make it into Mojoverse and just decided to go home.
Yeah. And, again, props for honesty does proceed to hit on Northstar's sister.
Yes, with the amazing line of, do you know what Pokemon are?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Dakin has max EVs here.
Yeah. So he's basically talking about how, you know, he is a Pokemon with maxed out stats, perfect EVs, probably perfect IVs as well. But that leads him to be able to, you know, not need a shirt most of the time because he's just perfect.
Yeah. He says that his current shirt is soft, proves this by having Aurora feel it. And again, this is seems to be going pretty well for him. They're hitting it off pretty well. It's very flirtatious. And then he says, "What's up with the guy you were in Bellingham to hook up with?" And Aurora leaves.
Yeah, he was incredibly smooth up until that moment, and then just it fell apart.
Yeah.
So, but he realizes it too, because he's just sitting there with his hand against his head, and he's like, "Oh man,
yeah,
I messed that one up pretty bad."
But yeah, back to Mojo World, we're punching dudes.
Yep, the whole team is punching dudes as they are just in the middle of this arena. Rachel's having kind of a rough time because pretty much everyone in the stand is super bloodthirsty and is here to watch people die.
Yeah.
So she's not having a good time, and the rest of the crew is going to get a pretty nasty shock as they head towards the center, and they find out that the number one streamer on Mojoverse is Shatterstar.
Yeah. Covered in blood.
Yes, twin swords covered in blood. He's got a WWE style belt around him. You know what? I gotta ask. What do you guys know about Shatterstar, if anything?
Absolutely nothing.
Here's what I can tell you about Shatterstar. He was on X-Force, and him and Richter are a thing sometimes.
Yes. He also is one of those mutants that has a very ridiculous, complicated backstory that should not be complicated, but it is because it's comic books. So the brief of it for him is he was introduced in New Mutants number 99 in 1991. His name is Gavidra 7, and he is the biological son of Longshot and Dazzler. But also due to time nonsense, he is also the DNA base for Longshot. Don't think about that one too hard.
Sure. Okay.
It involves time travel, it involves deals with devils, it involves Mojoverse. It's very silly. Just know his dad is also his son. Don't worry about it.
So that's kind of why he's got the metalhead David Bowie thing going on here.
Yes. All you need to know about his powers is that he's very strong, very resilient, and he's a known gladiatorial fighter even before where we see him now. This was his whole shtick in Mojoverse before joining X-Force and X-Factor. But his mutant power also allows him to send shockwaves through swords to his enemies, hence the term Shatterstar. But also, like Tim had mentioned, he and Richter, our Richter from Excalibur, have actually been a thing for a little bit. Diving into it more, I learned that Shatterstar and Richter had the first male superhero gay kiss between them. And to put that into perspective, Northstar came out as gay in 1992. The first gay kiss in a Marvel comic was 2001 in X-Force number 118, but it was a mutant and a normal human, so kind of weird. And Shatterstar and Richter were the first male superhero gay kiss in 2009. So even though Northstar came out in 92, it took them another 17 years to finally have two superheroes kiss each other.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Comics, baby.
Shatterstar's look here in general is very like wrestling coded. Like this just looks like an outfit a wrestler would wear. I think that was on purpose. But yeah, it's like that and just like absolutely covered in blood.
Yeah, and there's clearly a dead body next to him.
Yeah,
You know,
but
he's been tearing people apart.
yeah, but so he sees the X Factor and is absolutely shocked that they're here and like cannot believe this is even real.
Yeah. It makes what is about to come more heartbreaking, honestly.
Yeah. So he goes to greet his friends. They're like, "Hey, what's happening?" And he just kind of exclaims, "I'm the top streamer in the Mojoverse," with a bunch of black orbs following him and him just not looking happy. It's very interesting, like framing wise.
Yeah, it's definitely supposed to make him seem extremely sinister.
I don't.
He just did.
I actually don't think it looks sinister. I think this looks like it's almost sad. Like it's like delivered with like there's no gusto here. It's just like matter of fact. I'm the top live streamer in the Mojoverse, as he's just kind of like alone in an arena.
Yeah, I don't particularly see it as either sinister or sad. I feel like at this point he was being a little like naive, just doing his "I'm just a little guy" pose.
Yeah.
But very quickly you figure out he's more of a hostage in this situation.
Yeah.
Especially with the orbs kind of accumulating around him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're very quickly going to learn that all of these orbs are subscribers who purchase the premium access, and they get very, very close access to Shatterstar almost all the time.
Yeah,
And that's why they're swarming him.
It's like this little black cloud just following him.
Yeah, so no privacy whatsoever. And, as we've just mentioned, he was trying to communicate with somebody outside Mojoverse, but it is hard to do so. So, sending a box of blood and gore and a ballerina shoe was definitely a message. But somebody did get it, and he's going to slowly explain through doublespeak kind of what's going on here. Because while he is clearly unhappy, he's being followed very closely and has to keep up with the party line that everything is wonderful.
Yeah. It's almost heartbreaking. He's just kind of like expositing to them as they're walking around, but it's very it becomes more apparent as he's talking that he has to use language like this.
Yeah. A hostage is the perfect way to describe it. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just constantly just like, I'm going to tell you what is happening and what is going wrong, but I'm going to say it in a way that makes it sound like I'm just talking about how amazing this place is.
Yeah, for instance, he's going to take the crew off of the stage into Arise's Arise and Shine studio, where Sophia's body is being held. And along the way, he's going to explain that, Wind Dancer died on her own terms. And originally, Mojo was going to feed her body to his clone banks so he could get mutant DNA and then clone her basically as much as he wanted. But Northstar was able to talk Mojo out of it and say, wait, why don't you live stream the autopsy, get more views that way? And this is all with Shatterstar basically saying, hey, I told him to not do this. He didn't do it, which, good job, Mojo. You made a great choice. I'm glad you were smart enough to make it. Anyway, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And while this is going on, Rachel does try to read his mind, but he has the same neural implant that Spiral does, so nobody can really tell what he is thinking about what is going on here. We arrive here at Arise's Arise and Shine studio. He is the clone master here for Mojo. A lot of the individuals we saw Shatterstar killing or fighting each other in that arena were clones. The army that was earlier that Rachel stopped were also clones. There's a very big cast of people on Mojoverse that are pretty much just used as tools and nothing else.
Yeah. But yeah, they're directed to Sophia's body. And Shatterstar goes and sits down while he just lets him have a moment with her.
Yeah, right before that, he does say, like, hey, the live stream's coming up. A lot of people are looking forward to it. So make sure you're done seeing her so you can leave.
Yeah.
Just as clearly as he can, saying, get her and just get out.
So during all this, they're also kind of telepathically communicating with each other that, like, yeah, something's up. This isn't right. And Polaris confirms with him after this that you can't speak freely anymore. He answers in Krakoan. I think it's pretty obvious what this says.
Yeah, it's 2 letters, so take a guess.
Yeah. Prodigy seems intent on carrying Wind Dancer out of here because that's her friend, and Northstar is like, no, you're not doing that. It's kind of a funny scene in terms of just like, you have Prodigy, like, he's like, no, I should be the one to do this, and then Northstar just disappears, and the last panel is Prodigy in front of, like, the empty tank, just saying, like, fucking speedsters, but, like, it is sweet. I think it shows just Northstar just, like, he is taking, like, his teammates' like feelings into consideration here, and just, like, knows that's not really something to let Prodigy do right now.
Yeah, it does feel like a not a return of the favor, but similar to what they did for him with Aurora, he is now doing here for Prodigy.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So, no, that's pretty much all I got here. I was gonna take us to the next part.
Oh, okay. Next part, pretty short as we're getting to the end here. But Northstar is out. Lorna tells Shatterstar that, hey, maybe you should come with us and you can leave and be part of X Factor. And Shatterstar says, I would love to, but how could he possibly leave? He's having so much fun here.
Yeah. Polaris says, we'll come back for you, and our last scene is Shatterstar just walking along, like, alone, just out of frame, with his camera trails behind him as he poses for the crowd.
Yeah, so just another, showing that, like, hey, he's not doing well. So, and then lastly here, we are going to have a few data pages. This first one is Shatterstar's attempted transmissions out of Mojoverse into basically whoever is listening. And it's essentially explaining everything we kind of just talked about, how everything really sucks here. Mojoverse is a very bad place. It does not care about people. It is here to churn out content and nothing else, even if it breaks people while it does it. As well as talking about how Wind Dancer arrives looking to maybe make it for herself, and Shatterstar and a couple of others have gotten together and are going to try and make sure to keep her safe. Which doesn't really work out, as she agrees to be shot on livestream.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, like, the last couple transmissions are just kind of like the peeled back layer of him just being, like, just absolutely horrified, with the very last transmission just being like, I am so lonely.
Mm-hmm.
It's if the goal was to give you some sympathy for Shatterstar,
they did it.
The goal was accomplished. Yeah.
I somewhat feel like I could have done without this data page, mostly because I feel like it's just repeating what's already been shown.
Yeah, I think all of this is, like, very successfully conveyed through the actual issue.
I knew all of this already. They did the work to figure all of this out. He kind of communicated all of this through the doublespeak as they walked to the, like, autopsy place.
Yeah.
So yeah, this feels like them hitting me over the head with the hammer in case I didn't get it. Trust me, I got it.
Yeah, it's like, no, I get what you're going for here. I appreciate it. I like it being just, like, a bit more, like, specific in toward, like, what he's going for. And I think that's a nice little look. But I agree. I don't think anything in here is, like, particularly new information. I think they like, you did it. You already did it. Like, you wrote this well enough where all this came across. Like,
they, like, go through the clone stuff again. Like, that was well conveyed.
Yeah.
I think there is some interesting background here to his relationship with what's the dead mutant called again?
Wind Dancer?
Yes. Like, there's a little bit here about what happened before we kind of got into the issue. And that is interesting. That does provide some background, but the rest of it, like, I could have done without. Like, I got all of this from the issue itself.
Yeah. And then we go on to our last data page here. And it's
this one's fun.
Yeah, it's Aurora writing a little journal of what she got from watching Mojoverse TV all day.
Yeah, this kind of lighthearted one.
Yeah.
Yeah, some fun, sibling poking at each other. Just a weird, Arise's weird yoga channel. There's a snuff film channel by Adam X. It just some more, like, background fluff, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. I do like the format because you usually get a lot of data pages that are very, redacted as if they were reports. And this feels like, as Tim said, a journal entry, basically.
Yeah. It's like the last sentence of this is Jean Paul flatly condemns it, but as often happens, he is wrong. Smiley face. Like,
Yep.
Mhm.
There are
Yeah, like
several
that's-
smiley faces like scattered throughout this
yeah,
This little thing, yeah.
entry. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it is
fine.
nice just to have like a little insight here with no redactions or no fluffed up government talk.
Oh, actually, did y'all's issue have the page after this?
Yes.
Yes, I did. I'm assuming all of yours also had Wolverines too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. At the end of that issue as well.
This
Okay.
is what I
Okay.
meant by rainbow shenanigans.
Okay,
Okay. Let me say this, please.
Oh, hold on. If you're gonna say what I think you're gonna say, can we wait until Wolverine?
Okay, we're gonna wait.
But I have to ask, Sergio, do you know what this is?
I guess this is whatever X of Swords is.
Okay.
Okay.
So, to describe this, it is simply a page. It is Psylocke, Domino, Mystique, Storm, and Gwenpool all at the tiki bar, having fun, drinking. Rainbow lights come in. Everybody but Gwenpool is teleported somewhere else, and everyone is given guns. That's all you get.
Yep.
And we
It's
are going to
either-
get some... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm wondering if X of Swords is like a Fortnite thing.
I mean, we'll see. Well, there is another one of these in Wolverine. So all will be revealed after that one.
Yeah.
What year is this? Like 2021?
Yeah.
This is 2020.
It's about
2020?
2021.
Okay.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is 2020. Really, the only thing to note here is shout out to Mystique with the line, "I don't know what's happening, but as with most things, I blame Charles."
Yeah.
Same.
That is correct. Always blame Xavier for whatever's going wrong.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, do we want to head out to Wolverine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can jump into that one. I think the last thing I want to say about X Factor here is, having sat down and now discussed it, I kind of like how this issue, even though there was a lot going on, not only tackled, hey, maybe all of this, rabid climb for views and everything is a little bad and sometimes very unethical, while also showing, hey, there can also be some people trapped in that same cycle, realizing how bad it is, and then just simply can't get out.
Yeah.
It covers a lot in just, 30 pages? If that?
Yeah. I feel like it is, again, as subtle as a sledgehammer. And it doesn't really stray from like the narrative space that you would imagine from something with the premise of this, which is like content culture, media culture, celebrity culture. You've got wrestling, all the ills of entertainment as seen from like a very occidental lens. So it's not, I would say, breaking new ground, but I do think I will give them credit for going as far as they go. It gets very, again, like horror-ish. I think my comparison with the Inkall from the last time we spoke about, last time we covered X Factor, was pretty on the spot for the degree of like darkness that it reaches. But yeah, I think it's a solid issue. I think it does its job. It had already kind of gone all in on the entertainment stuff, and it does so well. I think it navigates the narrative space well. So yeah, I would definitely say a very competent issue. It's funny, I feel, when the X-Men kind of tackle issues at large within society that doesn't necessarily relate to like prejudice or discrimination or like the moral space that X-Men usually thread. There is some of that in the fact that mutants are like overvalued within the Mojoverse as like particularly good content drivers. But I don't think it maps as well as just the general critique of the entertainment industry at large does, which I think is something that, X-Men don't necessarily do as much. They usually know their narrative space. Like, for example, the New Mutant stuff that we're about to see clearly moves in the space of prejudice and discrimination and things like that. So it's funny to see it's interesting to me to see the X-Men kind of toy with something where I would expect more regular superheroes to kind of go into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really good observation. I would agree also that I think the X-Men can be very versatile in that way. You can have stuff like this where they can cover things maybe the Avengers could also cover, but then they can also go to, representing social minorities, which they've done for decades. They can really go all over the place.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say like they should be brooding about their identity all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see them have this sort of role.
Right.
And the X Factor crew kind of seems well fitted for it because it doesn't seem like, they have any particular issues with their status, and they are working within the confines of Krakoa. They're not like going out into the world too much. We're only like 3 issues in, but still, their role doesn't lend itself well, I feel like, to like exploring the usual narrative threats that other X-Men groups do.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty competent issue. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, going from these, topics to these discussions of worldly issues, instead we're going to go to Wolverine and talk about vampires.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So for Wolverine number 5, titled Blood Clocks, just to give you an idea of what we're going for.
Oh, that's my favorite Castlevania game.
Yeah.
Blood Clocks?
It's good stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice. Very nice. This was released in September of 2020 and still written by Benjamin Percy. And we're going to open back up into the frozen north that is Canada, where Wolverine has been turned into a blood popsicle, and the vampires are drilling a hole into his neck through the ice and using it to fill these strange devices that they lock onto their chests that will allow them to use Wolverine's blood to walk in the daylight.
I love all of this so much.
just for a little bit of a recap here, the last time we saw Wolverine, he was being dunked into a frozen lake, and being fetched out by Omega Red, surrounded by a bunch of vampires. So yeah, that takes us to this.
Yep, where he is a popsicle. They're putting metal to their chest like Iron Man, and now they're like, we can walk in the daytime. I'm Dracula.
Yeah. So yeah, it's straight up like this is just Dracula.
Yeah. Not somebody else, not some other made up, vampire lord. This is the Vlad Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it looks so good. I really like the imagery of them drilling a hole into Wolverine's neck and the blood just pouring out of like the ice straw that was created. I love it. It looks so good.
Yeah. It's gross, and it makes me feel like squeamish. And
it's so gross.
It's perfect.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's a really smart way to keep your immortal blood popsicle alive, but also accessible.
So Dracula and his 2 little friends put these things on their chests, like they're the like Iron Man thing. And then
these 2 Dracula lackeys look like Siths.
Yeah, they do have that kind of.
That's like Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, that's Ventress right there.
That's just Ventress, and this other guy, he's just a dude. He's just got weird goggles on.
This guy reminds me of the Grand Inquisitor from Rebels, actually.
Yeah, I could see that.
A little bit of a different look, but kind of similar vein. But yeah, Dracula says he's gonna go run a nation, and he's out of here. Did we talk about the Vampire Nation? I feel like that must have been brought up.
I feel like that's been a thread in all of the Wolverine vampire adjacent issues.
Yeah, we did talk about it. We quizzed Sergio on where possibly a Vampire Nation could be, and if you're just tuning in, it's Chernobyl.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes, we did talk about this.
I still really like the Vampire Nation as a concept. It's just very silly.
There's a data page here about Wolverine blood group system. It's a rare blood type, and it is very good. Moving on.
I really don't like this. I really don't like. I feel like this clashes with the rest of the issue so much, like with the vibes. I don't need this like scientific breakdown.
Yeah, it's okay. We don't need it. I agree.
It's funny. I have one good thing to say about this data page, is it introduces something called galactose, and I think that's very funny.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
We're just gonna make up. Yeah, we're just gonna make up new parts of blood. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pick out one thing to like about this data page, I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, just one thing that just popped into my head. Every time I hear Vampire Nation, I feel like Dracula's addressing his like followers on Twitch.
Yes. Yeah. How some people do that. They just say, "Oh, it's it's the whatever nation."
Yeah, the Vampire Nation.
Yeah.
How are all my vampires doing tonight?
Oh, I hope you click the subscribe button and send a like.
Yeah. But so on the US-Canadian border, the two vampire lackeys are coming through with a truck. And
a truck full of meat, by the way.
Yeah, truck full of meat. One of the border agents is like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a look inside. Shouldn't have done that."
No, it's a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah,
like a lot.
He joins them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like his first mistake was not questioning the two Sith Inquisitors right here, and just being like, "Yeah, that's normal."
Yeah.
This is like that cold open to a Supernatural episode.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm expecting
totally
the opening credits to hit. Like. Yeah.
Like, ooh, there's a problem.
God, I love how this looks. Like the outlines of them biting his neck. It looks so good. I love the capes. Like it looks all perfect. I love the way this is drawn. I love the way this is colored.
Yeah.
No, same. This issue is very non-serious. It's very bloody and all sorts of ridiculous that only really comics, I feel, can pull off very well. But it's also very, very well done.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of fun with this entire issue, and also part of that is because it's drawn very well.
Yeah. So we get to our next page, and we get a group who I can best describe as if Jesse Pinkman and some of his friends turned into vampires.
Yes.
That's pretty accurate,
Absolutely.
But yeah, they pull up to the barn and find Wolverine as an ice cube and just put him on the snowmobile, and we're taking off.
Yep, it's their blood popsicle now.
Yeah, they describe it as a juice box.
Mm-hmm. And then they rush off with their Wolverine popsicle on their snowmobiles, but they go a little too off-roading, and the constant jostling of the ice is enough to crack it and allows Wolverine to break out.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I'm a little disappointed that it was so easy for him to get out. I was expecting to get a little more kind of agony from Wolverine, or to feel a little more squeamish. I feel like this lent itself more to, for some more nice, like, body horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really feel like they could have probably played with that a little bit and had a little bit more horror aspect there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, you get the one drilled into the neck and that's it.
Yeah, I guess one of the things I would have liked for Wolverine to be conscious inside of the ice block, and for us to get like some thoughts from him.
Yes.
But I guess he wasn't. So it's not like we could have gotten a lot of horror out of it anyway.
Yeah.
Sergio, you really need to read The Immortal Hulk. Trust me. If you wanted more like horror out of that, you should absolutely read that series.
I do have something for, like, I'm thinking about the beginning of the Sandman when he's trapped for like
that's a good one. Yeah.
That's kind of what came to mind for me seeing Wolverine in that block of ice. I would like some of that. This is fine. He gets out of the cube and goes after the kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but meanwhile, we're gonna see what our two Sith friends are up to, because they took their truck full of meat all the way down to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they pop open the back and we find that everybody who was dead inside is now alive as vampires, and they're very hungry.
Yeah, and they just let them loose on Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's really not much else to say. They just let a bunch of vampires loose.
Yeah.
I do really like the shots of them kind of running out of the alleyway. It's kind of like it reminds me a lot of Batman the Animated Series. The way kind of the buildings look and everything is almost vaguely gothic. It's very nice. I really like the way it looks.
Is there a local superhero in Minneapolis that's going to be handling this?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Don't know. Not that I can think of.
There was definitely a time when that could have been a thing. I wonder if the Great Lake Avengers operate near here, but yeah, currently I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's too bad for.
Currently, they're just left for dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
don't go there.
I don't know how much help the Great Lake Avengers would be either way. So maybe good.
But now that they have been unleashed on those poor citizens, we're back to Wolverine, as the vampire kids are trying to get away from him, but he basically is able to corner one, knock him off the snowmobile, and threaten them to try and figure out what is exactly going on.
Yeah. They just they kind of talk him down a little bit and say, "Hey, we were trying to rescue you," which that's a little bit of a lie, but apparently these kids don't really like the vampire life too much and mostly just hunt animals.
Hey man, down with the man.
Yeah. They tell Wolverine probably to calm him down, like, "Hey, we were trying to rescue you, not eat you," but they commented like, "Oh, this is our juice box," so like I don't buy that.
Yeah, I also don't buy that.
But yeah, these kids seem cool though.
Yep, they basically go on to say, yes, we do hear Dracula's call in our heads to, join him and to work with him, but hey, we don't like him. We didn't listen in life, we're not gonna listen in death. We do our own thing.
Yeah. He mentions the guy that brought him here and asked him if it looked like Omega Red, and they're like, "No, it's the dude that's in our heads."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Omega Red, we currently don't know where he is. And also, just to follow up on what Sergio was talking about earlier, Wolverine does mention here that he doesn't know how long he's been in the ice. He doesn't know if it's been days, weeks, years, or whatever. But I think it's implied it's only been a day, if that.
Yeah. I'm getting the feeling not much time has passed. But
and then...
yeah, we get a data page after this.
Yep, it is Logan's letter for Louise. She is that night guard woman from France that saved him from the first time he got jumped at a bar. When she had all of those, holy water, the UV gun, I believe. That was her.
Yeah.
Basically, he leaves this letter because he's going to go to one of her safe houses, take a couple of items, and just keep her up to date that, Dracula is doing something with his blood.
The thing that jumps out to me on this letter is the mention about them taking out the small towns. I have been reading a lot of Stephen King lately. I've been going through all of his works in publication order, and that means I've already read Salem's Lot, which is a movie about, it's a novel about pretty much Dracula coming to a small town and taking over and basically laying waste to it and turning everyone into vampires. It wouldn't surprise me if it kind of had inspired this.
That wouldn't
strategy.
That wouldn't shock me either. Just Percy's style of writing, I feel like, yeah, that is probably something he's read.
Yeah, this thing about places where the mines and the sawmills have shut down, that's just Stephen King to me. That's the kind of place he's interested in writing about. Places where the people are just scraping by? Yep.
Stephen King is right there being like, oh man, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this gave me a lot of... I wish we got more of this in this issue. But this gave me a lot of Salem's Lot vibes. Excellent novel, by the way. I highly recommend it. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, you might want to check out Stray Reads, my other podcast.
Yeah.
which we highly recommend that you do. But we do learn here as Logan and the vampire kids all hang out and talk together that the vampire nation has been visiting every town and village in 100 miles and pretty much just emptying them out. And we see where those people are going, which is Minneapolis.
I want to just... There's a panel here I really like of... It's Wolverine and the vampire woman talking. And one of the other vampire kids is just drinking looks like a water bottle of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the same energy as you would like drink like a soda with. And I don't know. I really like it.
It's very casual.
Yeah. Just kind of sipping on some blood. But yeah, he gets some logs from the lumber mill and we're strapping them to the snowmobiles as a stake.
Like you would if a knight had a lance, but instead it's Wolverine on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
But back in Black River Falls, Ontario, the meat truck is back in Canada as our two Sith friends are going through and picking up pretty much whoever they can. And they find this unfortunate drunk guy in the middle of the night. They bite him and plan to put him in the back of the truck before the vampire killer crew shows up with their snowmobiles and stakes.
This city does not exist, but there is a Black River Falls in Wisconsin.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to look it up. But yeah, I love this panel of them driving up.
It is the vibe of this entire issue, just in one panel. If I had to describe this arc right here, I would show somebody this.
Yeah. I love the vroom sound effect. It's just good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, a fight begins. There's a lot of explosions. Wolverine runs his snowmobile into the truck. Two of the vampire kids are just going to get murdered pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
One gets their head cut off.
Yeah, they're very dead. We get kind of this monologue during this about Wolverine talking about someone he met in a bar who was telling him like what it's like when you suddenly come into a lot of money. And it changes you by cranking up the volume on everything you used to be, which is I'm sure. I don't really have experience with all of a sudden coming into a lot of money, so
I can't say I do either, but I know there are actual studies out there about how a large amount of money can actually change a person.
Yeah.
So he's not that far off, but he does kind of tie it into Krakoa's immortality and basically saying, hey, mutants are immortal now. Vampires are also immortal and have become these horrific monsters who don't really understand humanity or morality anymore. And he muses on the fact that, well, maybe this is what mutantdom is going to become.
Yeah.
And maybe we should be careful.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of interesting because I feel like this is the first time we're kind of really showing our hands on what Percy's kind of doing here with the vampires as being kind of like an analog of two mutants of this could be you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's interesting. Also, this is done well in in the actual comic itself. We're seeing the vampire woman hitting a button on her snowmobile, which fires off a saw blade, which cuts off one of the Sith dudes' head off. Which
yes,
it's real rad.
Yeah, cool. there's a very interesting dichotomy going on right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the Sith dudes gets his head cut off, the other gets Wolverined to death and is stabbed thoroughly. And it is here that she reveals that they let Wolverine go on purpose. They did not protect him or keep him anywhere safe, because they knew if they did that, Krakoa would come looking, and they don't want to have a fight with the mutant nation just yet.
Yeah, they got what they wanted, so they just left him there. And what they got was now they have a way to operate during the daytime.
Yeah. At least for Dracula. These two, they're dead.
Yeah, and this is pretty much, we got to tie it back into the name of the issue here. Those things they put on their chest is blood clocks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we put that thing on his head. It says Wolverine says time's up for you and Omega Red, as we see the only survivor is the woman. And that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
I really
almost
like,
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, go on. We'll talk about
Well, I was just gonna say I really like Wolverine's little speech in these last 2 pages. I think Wolverine is a little naive with some of the things that he exposes about, especially in his monologues, because there's a lot of like monologuing in these issues. But he's usually pretty right. He has the right idea most of the time. I don't know if I agree about like his what people do with money when they become millionaires kind of bit. But he's got the right concerns. I think I agree with him more than I agree with the priest guy most days. And most people you think as the ones who think through stuff in Krakoa, I think like Wolverine's doing a pretty good thinking through stuff.
Wolverine's got his head on straight here. Like I feel like he's being like very like smartly cautious about this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He really like he gets at the concerns I would have about Krakoa and the like things I would like to see explored more often than most other characters in this like whole franchise.
Yeah.
So
we get
another teaser.
Yeah, we get another teaser here. Wolverine's wandering through the snow, and he's abducted by a rainbow before it then puts him back in.
Yes, a little bloodier.
Yeah, he says shit with some blood coming out of his mouth, and that's the end of that. And that's the only 2 teasers we really get for this in the X-Men comics. So, on August 27th, 2020, Chapter 2, Season 4 of Fortnite launched, called Nexus War. Where
Nailed it.
Yeah,
You absolutely did. When you said, "Oh, maybe it's a Fortnite thing," I'm like, he got it. I was so happy.
They, all of the Marvel characters that show up in this season, it's a Marvel-focused season, and all the Marvel characters that show up during this time are canonically the comic characters.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
the rainbow
pretty
that
fun.
pops in to take them is the gosh, why did I just drop it? It's from Thor.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole actual Fortnite comic on their website about this whole thing, and it's Thor fighting Galactus in the Fortnite world, and they have to pull in a bunch of extra heroes for it. So this is how they explain the skins in-game that you can buy, and everything else that happens there.
Oh, interesting. Well,
so yeah, just a fun little thing to be like, hey, yo, by the way, this is happening. I do think it's kind of funny reading this after the fact that there is absolutely nothing to point you at as to what that means.
Yeah.
There is no like, hey, check it out in Fortnite. Hey, go to this website. It's just, here's a page, here's some rainbows and some guns, and that's it. It's very funny.
Yeah. So that's our Fortnite crossover, and let's
I do have to say, very timely, because off the podcast, the 3 of us have been talking about playing Fortnite, since Tim and I do. So when I saw this come up, I was like, no way.
Yeah, I forgot.
We were just talking about this.
I knew this was happening. I forgot when it came up. But anyway, want to head into New Mutants?
Yes. Let's go back into New Mutants. A bit more serious conversation than vampires.
Yeah.
So for New Mutants number 12, Monster Machine, this is written by Ed Bryson and released also in September of 2020. And just as a heads up for what happened last time, because it has been a minute, the last time we saw the New Mutants, we were finishing up the Carnelian saga by saving the new mutant known as Cosmar. She is back on Krakoa and relatively safe in a glass jar. And the rest of the team, having recovered from that, were discussing how Docs, the anti-mutant website, exists and tracks mutant occurrences, and has a very, very heavy anti-mutant spin. So that was the last time we saw the New Mutants.
Yeah.
But this time, we're opening up in Sergio's absolutely favorite place, Nova Roma. The secret Roman offshoots in Brazil.
I could not roll my eyes any harder.
No, you really
seeing
can't.
The way this opened.
Yeah.
We see two of these Nova Roman soldiers going through the Amazon rainforest as they find a monster track before being beset by a whole bunch of monsters, led by this mysterious blonde woman who is apparently there for vengeance.
Yeah.
I hope she accomplishes her goals. I wish her well in all of her endeavors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You wish to crush Nova Roma?
Yes.
Here, let me help you. Here's my axe.
I hope all of these Renfair fuckers get eaten by some monsters.
Hey, you know what? You're pretty accurate, which is what is going to come next.
Yeah.
But we're going to go back to Krakoa first. We are at the Green Lagoon Tiki Bar, where Magic is hanging out, waiting to hear back from Trinary, who was creating something to hack into Dox's website and IP track where they are.
Uh-huh.
She was able to do so. She's a technopath, so she can talk to technology. And she was able to figure out where they operate, who they are, what their names are, and gave pretty much all of that information to Magic, as well as cross-referencing their articles with actual police reports and other news of mutants getting harmed by anti-mutant violence.
Yeah, and you kind of get the vibe as Trinari's talking about this that she wasn't super familiar with them as she was looking into this, and just like as she's like, yeah, these people are kind of monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's some of these drinks have little octopus tentacles with swords, like olive garnishes. It's very, very odd. I think it's cool. I wonder if those are good. I assume they are if they're just having them in drinks like this.
Yeah, I would assume so, but I mean, I can't say I've never had squid or anything. I don't know. I would assume it would taste the same.
Yeah.
You've never had squid?
I've never had squid. I'm not a big seafood person. I know. I'm sorry.
It's good.
Disappointing, I'm sure.
I really like octopus. Octopus meat is pretty good.
Would you make that a garnish for a drink?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could see it working. Yeah, octopus thing is you have to prepare it well, or else it's going to be very chewy, and it's not as good when it's chewy.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so we get the next data page we get is just a screenshot of Dox's Krakoan gate report sites where they are just monitoring all of the activity of the Krakoan gates, just like full name, just where they're going.
Yeah, it is a user-supported system where you can basically put down who you saw, where you saw them entering or exiting, and it gets tracked here, and it stays here, too. There's a reference that you can go back to different days to see where mutants have been.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad. You have
like
their mutant name. Oh, good.
I like this in the sense that it feels very true to life. This feels like something that would actually exist. I feel like someone put some real thought into, the mechanics of what a hypothetical real Dox would do.
Yeah, and I agree. Like this feels very realistic. Like, of course they would track like who's going in and out of the gates.
Yeah, and it's not just I saw Storm going through the gate. It's like, no, her mutant name is Storm. Her human name is this. She lives here. It's a decent amount of info.
Something that feels also very true to life is this feels very artisanal. Like it feels like a page that someone's manually updating in real time. Like there is no real submission system that makes this automatically. It goes through a tip line or is to be like submitted through a message board, and then someone who's monitoring those kind of updates this manually. And this feels like exactly the sort of very inefficient kind of web infrastructure that would support something like this.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a Google Docs that someone's like updating.
Yeah. like one of the really interesting ones I think is like because you get like these big name ones like here's Storm, here's you see Peter Wisdom go into the gate, but then there's like one of the New York ones you see like really early on. It's like, yeah, we don't know who this person is. If you know, here's a picture of them. Like, give us something on the tip line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a community info gathering.
Yeah.
In a enough of kind of a workshopped way that, yeah, like Sergio says, it feels very real.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it also helps to convey how the strength of these sort of sites comes from like having a community around it, because if then they would just kind of like dismantle themselves, like fall upon their own weight.
So after we get that, we are back to a Krakoan gate in Columbus, Ohio, where Magic, Danny, and Glob are here to go talk to the wonderful folks at Docks. They discuss maybe, they should have done this quietly, and Magic's like, no, I want them to see that we're coming, because you have to remember what happened to Beak's parents, and it has been a while, but Beak's parents were killed as part of a hostage situation.
Yeah.
Involving mutants, specifically because Docks posted where Beak and his family lived.
Yeah. So yeah, they come through the gate. Apparently the office of this place is looking directly at the gate. And we also get kind of like a scene of while they're walking up to it. People are just snapping photos of.
Yep.
Yeah. And the head editor / owner, Joseph Canning, sees them coming from their office window and immediately tells everybody working in the office, get out your phones, don't care what you're doing, start recording this, because we're going to need to have evidence.
Yeah. It says, like, we're not going to let them bully us, and then, like, right as that happens, Magic kicks the door down.
Yes, and it's great. She holds a sword to him as Danny goes over to a computer and puts in a USB that Trinary gave to them because she is going to give a bit of a presentation and also upload I don't know if you'd say malware or virus, I don't know what the correct term, that's going to make Docks a little difficult.
Yeah. But before that, she just starts showing what is basically a presentation of mutants that have been killed.
Yes, and not even mutants. Some of these, I think, are hinted at just being human.
Yeah.
They show a picture of a young woman with 2 children. She was a mutant. She was attacked because of Docks. She was killed, because of Docks. There is another man who was shot on his way to a gate in LA. He was dead. There is a young girl who was 14 who was beaten because of their site. And then there's just a normal father of 4 who is never going to walk again because of their website and the fear that they are putting out.
Yeah. Editor Man tries to claim this isn't on them.
Yeah, this entire sequence here is mirroring a lot of, I would say, online far-right discourse that has popped up, especially in the last decade or so, because, they are pointing out, hey, your website is causing real-world harm. People are either getting killed or horribly, horribly injured because of the stuff you're posting. And the editor is going to fire back and say, well, no, you did it first because you created your own nation, you made new medicines while you held us hostage to accept your new policies, and you're using us as bargaining chips. Therefore, we are in the right to do this.
Yep, kind of, as you said, going through the usual talking points, like white supremacy discourse.
Yeah, it's like how every time, this person's name popped up as a big influence for a, someone's like manifesto after they did like a killing, and it's like, what is the usual playbook of what they go to? And it's just like, oh, like, I'm not responsible for one like doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I just post about these things. I just talk about it. I don't actually pull the trigger or anything, and I'm going to go through a lot on this issue because I really, really like this issue. But what comes to mind initially, especially for what the editor here is saying in response, is a far more recent event that happened here in the United States, where a young high school student was beaten to death because of the Twitter account Libs of TikTok, and because of what that account was saying about this school and the students there. And, the student was Two-Spirit, and because some of the other kids saw all of this stuff being talked about online and how being LGBTQ was negative and something to be hated, she died as a result of this. And you see the same thing from this Twitter account from Libs of TikTok, where they discuss, well, no, I didn't do anything. Sure, I talked about it. Sure, I pointed a target at the school, but I didn't actually tell these kids to go and harm this other child. I didn't say, go kill somebody, go harm somebody. They kind of take their hands off of it and say, hey, we're innocent, even though they very much are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not something that has stopped. If anything, I would argue it has definitely increased in the last couple years since this comic came out in 2020. It feels like it's gotten a lot more common, especially towards LGBTQ people and trans people especially. That definitely started and exploded in the UK with everything J.K. Rowling was starting, and has definitely headed over here to the States. And this kind of rhetoric and talk online is becoming a lot more common when it really should not be.
Yeah, it's just like an absolute like gross like refusal to like accept any responsibility for it. And like the impression I get by a lot of this is like not that, like it just comes across as an excuse. Like, no, you know what you're doing here.
Yeah, it's definitely intentional. You know, they know what they're doing is going to hurt people because they see mutants as less.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, this is where Danny reveals that they have updated the docs systems. So now every time that they post anything on their website, it will also expose the full name and address of the person posting it, which they believe to be fair. If you're going to dox us, we're going to dox you back.
Yeah. Editor man fires off about like how they're, trying to stifle their freedom of speech. Magic goes for a swing, and Glob punches him instead.
I gotta say, before we move on to Globe, I was kind of disappointed with this kind of counterattack that they devised. I don't think this is like effective at all, especially with this sort of like community that is kind of like assembled around white supremacy discourse, and that's just not how websites work.
Yeah, I
feel like they could have. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think my whole thing with this is like this works kind of like in a comic book format where you do have like a head of the site or whatever. They have their their office, and you can kind of do this stuff with. In like an actual world, like this wouldn't be like something where you go and just like mess with these guys and now all of a sudden they're crippled from posting their addresses. It's like a collection that's kind of all over the place.
This, I feel like, to me, even if this was applied, and it could be like technologically feasible to apply this to one of these websites, it would be such a naive, like liberal response to the sort of hate that these and the way these websites and organizations operate, because the actual damage that is inflicted with doxing relies on the systemic kind of prejudices that are already present in like the social spaces where these people move.
Yeah.
And like a white person can like release their name and their address and nothing's gonna happen to them because they like societal structures already laid out in a way where they are protected.
Yeah, they're not gonna be the ones that are like in danger from this.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
This is not a threat. This does nothing. This is completely ineffective.
Yeah.
This is just does not address at all the actual material damage that is inflicted upon people who belong to actual minorities that may be threatened by them being exposed because they're actually hiding something, which is their identity. These people have nothing to hide. They're already like the people in the upper echelons of society. So this was a big disappointment to me in terms of like what this actually accomplishes. Like they thought they came here with a plan and this is what they had. I was just very disappointed by this.
Yeah, and it does feel like it's a little bit missing something, especially it's like this guy has like an actual job with an actual title. I don't expect him to be like someone that's super hard to track down or who was hiding his identity.
Yeah, I feel like they just missed the mark so hard with this. I feel like whoever wrote this is just completely misunderstanding the nature of the damage that these websites are capable of doing and how like the actual mechanics of how the damage is enacted upon people.
Or even, the way I see this, and I agree, I kind of wish there was more of a resolution to it, because in a real world scenario, this is going to do nothing. I fully agree. This feels almost like a fantasy wish fulfillment that,
but it is, I don't know, it is naive and it relies on the principle that everyone is equal. Like there is an equality being like performed here. Mm-hmm. They have realized some sort of balance, and it calls upon like naive views of what equality means and what minorities are fighting for, without addressing like the systemic foundations of the issue at hand. Mm-hmm. That it's not only that it's wish fulfillment, it's not only that it's naive, it's like actively misunderstanding the issue, to a degree that just does not sit well with me. Like it is actively, I don't know, misinforming. I was made very uncomfortable by this resolution. Not uncomfortable, I guess I was just very disappointed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but again, I think that's totally fair. Especially if you really, like Sergio's been saying, understand the whole problem and situation. This is almost a very surface level solution to the problem.
Shut down the website.
Yeah.
The platform these people. Use Krakow's being able to negotiate so many things out of the international community. They can talk to an ISP so these people go down.
Yeah, like especially because it's like, they're doxing people while operating like out of an office building. Like you cannot tell me there is not something you can do here.
They're coming into the office tomorrow, just the same as today.
Like they aren't gonna just like lose their. Yeah, okay. Well, let's. So after this we get some Glob stuff.
Which shout outs to Glob.
Yes.
Who has not fought once in this entire run, punching the shit out of this guy and then throwing him into a cabinet.
Yeah.
And this is going to be interesting going from what we were just discussing to Glob's stuff here. Because, I've said I really like this issue a lot. I do agree. I think the solution that they put forward is not realistic and definitely would not work. But I'm willing to hand wave it as like, it's a comic book. But what really, to me, shines the most about this issue is everything starting from now with Glob. Because it hits really close to home in a very, very real way that I kind of wish I had read this actual issue when I was like in high school and trying to come to terms with my own sexuality and trying to understand all of that. Like, I wish I had read this because it's speaking to very specific people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this bit with Glob is wish fulfillment in a way that is effective. Because sometimes you just want to punch people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Glob explodes here. It's just like this absolute outburst of just anger and feeling. And it's Yeah. Let's go into this a little bit here.
Yeah. So after Glob punches the editor, he grabs him and basically says, my entire life I've had to deal with people like you, even though he has tried to avoid them, keep his head down, stay out of the way. Every time these people still find him and make his life a living hell.
Yeah.
And in the middle of, throwing this guy around, he basically goes up to him and says, hey, if one more mutant gets hurt or dies because of your website, I will come back here and kill you myself.
Yeah. And again, this is an actual threat.
Yes.
I will come back here and I will kill you. I do not care what happens to me. You will die.
I like how throughout all of Glob's appearances, I feel like the people who draw him and portray him go through the lengths to make him appear fun and bubbly and cute.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a freaky skeleton man.
Yeah.
Threatening to kill this editor here.
Yeah, it's a skull with bulging eyeballs just yelling at a man.
Covered in goo.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. It's very scary.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I would take this very seriously if this face told me it was going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Magic says, okay, no killing, and we gotta go. And so that's that. And our next data page is another screen cap of Docs saying it is down for maintenance. We will be back online shortly.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I would say... Oh, go ahead.
I think this might be the last we hear from Docs.
Maybe. I would think so too, especially after a skeleton threatened you. This next part we're going to go through pretty quickly, simply because I think Sergio gets his wish fulfillment, because it looks like Nova Roma has been eaten by monsters.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. There are dead bodies in the streets. The leader, who is, I believe, Magma's father, is wounded and dying on the steps. As, again, this mysterious blonde-haired woman comes around and kind of saves his life while saying, hey, I know there were other people here that killed my beautiful red dog monster. Where did they go?
Yeah.
He doesn't say. And instead, she basically puts a horrific-looking alien creature into his chest, which will eat him from the inside until he tells her where those people went.
Yeah, she wants some revenge on the New Mutants here. Her and her no eyebrows. Sergio, how compelled are you by this storyline here in Nova?
I have the utmost concern for these Portuguese colonizers that have settled on the Amazon. I wish them the best.
I have some bad news for you. This is quietly dropped this issue. I don't think we see from this again.
Yeah. So if you were
so glad. I really have to question why you put the anti-white supremacy stuff alongside the white colonizers who have settled in South America.
Yeah,
I presumably have a lot of Roman statue Twitter profile pictures.
Yes. And talk about masculinity and how toxic masculinity definitely does not exist.
It also feels, it feels so tone deaf to me to have these two things in the same issue. I really don't know what the point of Nova Roma was, or I don't know. I probably should simply not have written about a town full of white people in the Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's done and dealt with.
We might see Nova Roma again, but not in this capacity, and not anything with this woman and her little monster pets we're done with. There's part of me that's a little bit curious on where it goes, but honestly it was the least interesting part of this entire run, so I'm not too pressed about it.
If they had put her anywhere else but Nova Roma, sure, maybe I'd be interested. But I'm not interested in the Nova Romans, so...
No, not really either. But, alright, back to Glob. We don't got to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, back to Glob. So, and, when I was saying earlier, oh man, everything with Glob is, it fits, it hits me, on an emotional level. What I meant was this. I forgot the pause in between the last scene and this scene with Nova Roma. It kind of like blanked out of my mind. So this is the stuff I'm talking about when I say I really like Glob's stuff, besides the fact that he punched the editor.
Yeah.
So we're back at the sextant. Glob is here feeding his chickens and not doing too hot. Magic comes to check on him, and he says he'd rather be alone, but he does end up opening up to her and is going to tell her a story of his childhood that he's never actually told anybody else. And he goes through a story that, I'm sure many LGBTQ people understand, where he says that his dad was very much like those people. He grew up hating mutants, and because his dad hated mutants and his dad's friends hated mutants, Glob also hated mutants because that's what you grow up with. They would go out protesting with signs like "Go home, mutie" or "Die, mutie, die," and just absolutely horrible things to mutants wherever. So you could imagine that when Glob came out as a mutant and transformed the way he did, his dad obviously was not happy. The thing that he hated the most and seemingly built much of his personality around was now in his home and was now his son. And he now also had a target for all of his rage against mutants, which was Glob. And for Glob, what he said earlier to the editor was really, hitting home for him. He really did try and stay out of his dad's way. He tried to not do anything to upset him, but there was always something his dad found to beat him or say horrible things. And he says, after a while, one night, his mom snuck him out of the house, dropped him off at Professor Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, and then told him never to call home, and left.
Yeah.
Yep, all of this hits. All of this is real good.
Yeah. We kind of go a little bit further into it where he just talks about how he just was so full of anger for the longest time, was mad at humans, and eventually just hit a point where he was like, I gotta be better. I need to stop letting this anger eat away at me. And
yeah,
he's been trying real hard on Krakoa, and then these people just like dug up all those memories of him, which is kind of why he lashed out there. Yeah, it's very good. Magic is kind of there to comfort him, just like give him like words of affirmation, just like it's okay now. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think all the emotions like hit like really well here.
Yeah, it feels like it's written from a place that knows this and understands it on more of just a deeper than a writing level.
Yeah.
And this whole talk by Glob here, about his father and his parents, him becoming angry, and then he kind of ends it off here by saying, he's really happy here on Krakoa. He says, we finally have something that's ours, and, life can be like it was meant to be. So we should be happy, we should be safe, and we shouldn't be afraid anymore. So when he came face to face with those people, he just got really upset because it's like, we're trying to just live our lives, and yet you are still here trying to bring us down. And this is kind of coming at a very interesting place to record this, because it's been, put out on different comic book news sites all over the place, and I'm sure by the time people read this, it's gonna be moved on. Or not reads this, listens to this. But the Krakoa era, as we've been calling it, is coming to an end. Currently, the last couple of issues are coming out in the next couple months, where they kind of sunset this Krakoan era and start moving on to something else. We don't exactly know what that is. We're going to see it play out. We've gotten some hints, but that's about it. So to get back to this early issue where Glob is explaining what makes Krakoa so great and special and wonderful, it hurts even more to know that it's ending. Because, I've felt this way. I've talked to other friends who read this who have felt the exact same way. you know, seeing yourself or part of yourself in these mutants on these pages and in these comics, and to see them finally have a place where they are happy and can live their lives and don't have to, be on the run or, killed by anti-mutants, militia or protesters or, giant robots as it is with comics. To see that happiness and all of that, it's very easy to be like, man, I wish that was a thing. I wish that was there. Especially in the current world where, like we talked about, hate is on the rise. There's a lot of talk, there's a lot of doxing of people that leads to a lot of real world violence that is going on. And you can't turn around and, let's just go back to Krakoa where everything is great. That doesn't exist. It's just a comic. But it was nice to see that happiness finally arrive for this group. And Glob's entire speech here just captures it so well about why I love Krakoa so much as just a concept and a place. Like, it does have its problems, and I'm definitely not going to shy away from that. It's got its issues, and that's where the stories are going. But just as an idea for a place where people can just be who they want to be and not have to worry about anything, fantastic.
Yeah, regardless of the problems that Krakoa may have, both narratively and like in the scope of its ambition towards doing something different, which I think has largely gone unfulfilled. I think the core premise of it being a safe place is very, it's just immediately appealing.
Yeah.
And the story here from Glob is just fantastic. Not It's funny because I just happened to read Stephen King's novella Rage, which is his kind of like disowned novella because it seemingly inspired or is has been rumored to have inspired, and there is some evidence for it, like school shootings, because it is about a school shooting. The main character is a kid who holds up his classroom hostage and kills like the professors around it. But my point is, there's a lot of like stories within that novella told from the kid's perspective that resonate with Glob's story here, which is about, again, like the failings of prejudiced, racist, patriarchal, white supremacist parents to raise their children in a world where they have different ideas and they cannot fundamentally like understand each other. And these resonate a whole lot, especially because I read that novella yesterday. But it does resonate a lot with me in the sense that this is very recognizable. Like, I can see how this is very recognizable to a lot of people as experiences that they themselves have had. And, even like Glob talking about anger, about like the avenue that he chose for channeling that anger or like shying away from that anger, feels like a healthy resolution to something that could or would have gone a different way if his mother hadn't acted and gotten him away from that environment with his father. If he hadn't come to know the mutant community as a welcoming one in his life. So I can definitely see how this resonates with a lot of people, and it really does hit, and it kind of speaks from a very general but still relatable perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does all hit really well. It works, and it's got a way better ending than Rage does.
Yeah, this is a very interesting issue with just like how much of a mixed bag it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a mixed bag.
It is some of the worst writing things or writing habits I think Breeson has, as well as some of the best. But yeah, I think I come away with it liking it, but yeah, it's definitely not a perfect issue.
Yeah, it's got that major disappointment for me in it. And it's got the Nova Roma stuff that might as well just not be there at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
but the rest of it is pretty good, and I do think everything surrounding Glob is really resonant.
Yeah. No, the Nova Roma stuff, whenever I think about this issue, I forget it's there. And whenever I open it, I'm like, oh yeah, there was a whole Nova Roman thing in this issue, and I just keep forgetting about it. But yeah, everything with Glob just hits so closely that it outshines everything else for me, honestly. It, like I had said earlier, if I had read his, talk at the end about, his family and growing up and how his father was and that, hatred that was fostered and everything, man, if I had read that when I was younger, it would have saved me a whole lot of sadness and trouble. Just a whole lot, because I definitely went through something similar.
Yeah, this issue could be just that conversation, and it would be an all-timer.
Yes,
absolutely. I agree.
So, but I also wouldn't trade Glob punching that guy in the face for anything, because that was very satisfying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wish that was the fulcrum of that whole scene, but then I thought, maybe it still is. I could have done without the technobabble stuff, but that's still the most memorable bit.
Yeah, and we would never know unless we asked Bryson himself, where maybe that was his intent, that is the end result of that entire conversation, but obviously being Marvel Comics, they're not gonna go and promote, hey, go beat up the Docs guys. They are still a major company at the end of the day. But maybe that was what he wanted to do at first. Just be like, yeah, no, they're gonna go tell them to knock it off with their fists.
Yeah.
But I believe that brings us to the end of our episode. A long one. We had a lot in X Factor. Not a lot in Wolverine, but it was still fun. And a whole lot here in New Mutants. So kind of going on a long one, but I think it was a good one.
It was, yeah. 3 pretty solid issues, I think.
And it looks like for our next episode, we are going to go back to the Giant Size X-Men series. We have Giant Size X-Men Fantomex, Giant Size X-Men Storm, and then X-Force number 11.
Yeah.
After that, I do still need to write down our schedule, but I do believe X of Swords is going to be starting up very shortly after that, so we have that to look forward to.
We have 2 more episodes until...
Sweet.
Is Fantomex a Mexican Phantom?
No.
That would make him way cooler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be a little disappointed, X. I was.
All right. Okay. I haven't really been disappointed with Giant Size X-Men so far, but since they're not being consistently written by anyone in particular, so I guess if it's going to disappoint me, that wouldn't be a judgment on any of the previous ones.
Oh no, it's all Hickman.
Yeah,
is it all Hickman? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Giant Size is all Hickman.
It's the illustrators who get switched out.
Yes.
Yeah,
those get switched out.
Got it.
So, but
these this is our last these are our last 2 Giant Size issues actually.
Yep, and then they go away.
Not for they don't completely go away in terms of we'll get another one of them, but as far as this little batch, this is yeah.
This batch of Hickman had some stories he wanted to put out, and editorial said we're calling them Giant Size.
Yeah.
That's the end of these.
But all right,
we should also figure out if we want to discuss X-Men 97 during the regular episodes, or if we're doing something else.
Yeah, I do want to talk about it.
Do we want to wait till the season's over and do one single X-Men 97 episode?
Let's see how we're feeling. It's a 10 episode show. Let's see how we're feeling 5 episodes deep.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can go from there. Or, and this is a good segue. I'm going to pat myself on the back for this one. Or if you have an idea for what we should do, if we should talk about it each episode, if we should make one big episode talking about the whole show, you can send us a message at studyofx@gmail.com and let us know what you would like us to do. If you want us to, talk about it all at once as each episode comes out, or just not at all and stick to comic books. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just looking at the episode listing. It says the last episode is actually a 3-parter called Tolerance is Extinction.
Ooh, I like that already.
Yeah. I really did like those first 2 episodes.
They were very good.
I gotta. But okay. End of the episode. If you did want to follow us here on social media, you can follow the podcast at Study of X. You can find it on Blue Sky, on Tumblr, and on Twitter, also known as X. We post the reading schedule there when new episodes come out, tidbits from the episode, and sometimes panels from the comics that we've read. If you are looking to follow me on any social media, I am on Blue Sky under Sonics. That is SAWNEEKS. Again, I don't post there that much, but I lurk a lot. And Tim, I have to know, are you still stuck in 1997?
Yes, I haven't left Help.
How is Blockbuster?
It's still there.
Okay, that's great. If you see something called Netflix, tell it to go away.
I'm going to invest.
Okay, or you can do that instead. And then when you get all of your money, you can let us know how that maybe changed your perception on things and turned you into a vampire.
It'll make me evil.
Okay, I expect it. And Sergio, you are not stuck in 1997. However, you are still writing your multi-book thesis on why Nova Roma is absolutely terrible. If people want to find out more about that, where can they send their letters to?
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of building an enclave with like-minded people in the Amazon, fashioned after Rome, like ancient Greece.
Okay. Is it going to involve Rome in the name?
It's Nova Athens, actually. Yes.
Okay. Legally distinct. I do like that. Well, if anyone wants to join him down there in the forest, you can also send us an email at studyofx@gmail.com, and we will tell you to save your money and maybe do something else.
That sounds better.
Alright, well that is the end of our episode today, so later, mutants.
Bye.
Bye, go play Castlevania.